you, Ollie. Welcome, everyone, to our opening of our Return to Self. We have a little less than half of the artists represented in the show with us today, and we're going to do a art panel. But we'd like to start off with a clip, a trailer for a production that is still in the works. It's a sneak peek of a biography on Elgin Jumper, one of our feature artists. So let me get that ready. I gotta come over here to do it. It's too far. Too far. Oh.
It was ready to go. Let's see. I know, but I downloaded it. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
That's a pizza place. Marmite tastes just like the chicken marmite.
Okay. It's stuck. There it is.
When I look at Elgin's art, I think of the Seminole story.
Elgin's art represents the Seminole's ability to work within the modern world and also have relevance in our past and in our own truths and knowledge.
He has a very creative process that he engages in. He loves to push the boundaries of what is considered contemporary art and to blur those boundaries between genres of art as well.
Watching Elgin develop as an artist on the canvas, watching as he's started to develop and try different ideas, from watercolor to oils to chalk, it's mind-blowing.
I think the first week I worked here, I was introduced to him by my boss. He has taken masterpieces and kind of included Seminole subjects in that. He's had paintings that remind you of masterpieces by Picasso and Matisse, and it's very interesting how he incorporates Seminole subjects into that.
Seminole art is really important. It's claiming that voice for us in contemporary society. More than just an expression of our culture, it's a negotiation of our identity, especially with artists like Elgin, which take a more modern or contemporary look at art. Elgin's art is very dynamic in the mediums that it chooses and also in the references to classical art that he chooses to highlight from his works.
We've done some expositions of his work before, and there's some certain paintings that he did of Big Cypress area. He's got a landscape here. He's got Snake Road, a depiction. He's got a chickee, and that really represents life here. Now, anybody that's come from the south to Big Cypress Reservation has driven on Snake Road. And if I see this painting, I don't care where I'm at, it just takes me back to this place, and it gives me peace. You know, some of his paintings, you couldn't tell if it was done, the subject matter was from yesterday, it was from 50 years ago or 100 years ago. And others, like there may be a Chiquis with a pickup truck, and that kind of gives you the yesterday and today kind of feel. So it's really interesting. His paintings are very thought-invoking.
I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I just picked up a pen or a pencil, and I just kept it up. It became a part of me, and I was drawing portraits, still life, landscapes, and I think I took it seriously. It was 2004, and I had just gotten a lot of drama and turmoil behind me related to alcohol and abusing alcohol, and I finally I was clear of it, and I just said, I'm gonna do something. I have to change my life. I have to reinvent myself. And I said, okay, all right. I have drawing. So why don't I take that further with painting? You know, it was a blank canvas. And, I've been painting on that canvas, and it's really turned into a colorful, purposeful painting.
Elgin and I go back. We used to call him E.G. as kids. We go back to, you know, youngsters running around a reservation, racing bicycles, and you know, everybody knew Elgin. And, you know, I didn't know he had that artistic thing about him. You know, some guys got it, some guys don't. I've tried to do it just because I like it so much. You know, I'm a big fan of, you know, art. That's what kind of got my interest. And then, you know, I saw what he was doing, you know, on canvas, and I thought he had a pretty special gift there.
Exit full screen, there we go.
Or is that going to be playing over here?
Elgin, would you like to be do the first? No. If we could actually make that seat the hot seat. Would you like to talk a little bit about your artwork and a little answer some of the questions about the film, about what we just saw? We get it out of here.
Well, this when we were first, and all of that, but you know. And that's what we showed at in Big Cypress, and the 20 minutes of it. But we're gonna get it up to 45 minutes or so, and we're still filming. We're gonna film in Big Cypress, I think back here, and on the reservation in Hollywood. And it's just something, the whole idea started, a friend of mine, we were talking about making documentaries and stuff like they show on YouTube, you know, like 5 minutes, you know, 3 minutes. And we were like, yeah, I want to make one. And we were like, oh, we'll make it ourselves. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, it's not going to be too good if I do it myself. So I had the idea and about what I wanted to do with it, and I had so I sent an email to SMP, and it was like a treatment, you know, for the documentary. And I told him I wanted to flow from the beginning. The film will do this, it'll do this. I want poetry to flow with it, in and out of poetry, and very poetic feeling to it. And I want my friends to come in and help me with it, and just to sort of share our art, like what we're doing now. You know, we're sharing our art, and we're discussing it, analyzing it. You know, I sort of critique my own art, and it's just something that's really turned out to be a good project. And it just shows a lot of the stuff that I meant to, a lot of the soundscapes, poetry mostly, which I wanted it to, from beginning to end, to flow with poetry. You know? And because I write poetry. I'm working on a new collection of poetry now. And I consider artwork to be poetry, you know, without words, you know. And it speaks a language that speaks to us as poetry. It's something other than prose, you know. It goes beyond prose. So that's the idea behind it. And I told Matt, the guy, the videographer I'm working with, my story at the headquarters of Seminole Media, and you know, I was going on about my idea for the movie, you know, for the documentary, and it just started getting, you know, it was like a piece, you know, like a painting. It just started growing and developing more and more as we went along. So that's how I got started, and it's a lot of work, a lot of scheduling, a lot of stuff like that. But then, without working on it, when our hearts are in it, and you can see that the chemistry and the camaraderie, there's like a magic that happens, and things happen that aren't planned, but they really come out in the documentary, you know. So we'll still be working on it. It's called Elgin Jumper's Colorful Journey, and it's really been a journey since I started painting and focusing on art, you know, full time. And when I started in 2004, I told myself, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to put all my heart into it. I'm going to, you know, sometimes I might even forsake other things, but this has got to be the way it is for me, and in order for me to do it. So it's really been a blessing, a dream. I've been following my dream, taking it further and learning. You know, it's a lot of learning involved, and practice, a lot of practice. You know, that's the key, the practice. So you really have to commit yourself to it, and have no regrets. You know, have no regrets. And because I tried everything in art, different painting styles. I started studying Leonardo da Vinci his whole life. I've been getting a lot of books and reading on Leonardo, and I think I'll study Michelangelo next, the Renaissance painters. And even though my artwork is more modern, more contemporary, I think it's important to study and to really get into how it all started. That's, you know, over 500 years ago, oil paintings been there from then on. I think it was 1911 when acrylic started coming. But that's what I did. I really, that's how I further it, by trying to get as much grasp on it as I can, and just taking it to heart. You take it into heart, and then it travels from there, from the heart, and it comes out to the brush, and the brush touches the canvas, and that's where the poetry, the truth, it all comes out onto the canvas. And so I really appreciate these kind of things where we can bring it out, and I look forward to other Seminole artists having their own documentaries, you know, bringing their art out for the world to see. And we're not just here, you know, on the reservation. We got casinos, but you know, the real story. We're here. We're doing art, doing good things, productive things, creatively, and I'm really grateful to have people like this and exhibitions like this, and Tara, working with her for years now. And like Ali was saying, you know, we were way back when there were only a few of us, and the way how far it's come, you know, this is so great to see. You know, we hope it stays like this, and more Seminole artists come out, and something big grows from it. You know, it's like, you know, the clouds have been pulled back and the sunlight comes down, and it's like a garden of creativity. And the most important thing for a garden to grow is sunlight. So we pulled all the clouds back now, and we're just watching and watching a flower bloom. So I'll hold on.
Thank you, Alden. Thank you so much. I know that it's been a while in process, this particular clip that we just watched, but also it's been a while in process because every year, you know, you make sure that we're going to do something. And every year there's, you know, another layer that we haven't tried before, and you know, it's wonderful to have you here and to have you start off our opening art discussion and panel with your story, with your historic overview of how we got to where we are today. So thank you for your encouragement always. When there's sunshine and when there's clouds and even when there's pouring rain, like there was this morning.
Yeah, it's sort of in a way it's good because we're just coming out of something, and the rain sort of signifies that it's cleansing it all away, and new things are gonna happen.
Beautiful. Thank you. So that's Elton Jumper, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. So we have a number of other our artists present with us. Let's see, did any others join? We have Tia with us online, and we have a couple likes from the crowd. So thank you to the crowd who is sending their likes. Would anyone like to replace Elgin in the hot seat and introduce themselves? I think they're looking at you, Jackie. Yeah, it's just the only, you just have to make sure when it's your turn that you can see yourself up.
Okay. I'll make it short and sweet. Jacqueline Osceola, Panther Clan. I live in the Hollywood Reservation. When I first started, I started out with commercial and graphic artists at the Fort Lauderdale Art Institute way back when. I went back to school in 2017 at IAIA in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I took studio arts and a little bit of museum studies. There I picked up wood carving, linoleum cut, printing, woodwork. I love to work with my hands that way. I do some collages with any type of materials. And a lot of it is pertaining to my heritage. And yeah, that I think art is healing to me, and it helps a lot of people to get through certain things that they've gone through in their life. Even if you can't, you say you can't draw, you can draw, and something comes out of it. And I feel like that's part of healing yourself. And I would like to see, I love seeing all of this art here, and I would love to see more art, because we have a lot more artists. And I'd like to see everyone here, everyone participating. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, also, Elgin has always encouraged me throughout the years. So I really appreciate him too.
Should I have my phone next, or do you guys want to go in order of age?
Hi. Chiantamo. Nicholas. Hi, my name is Nicholas, and it is a good day. This is my mother, Jackie Osceola. I wouldn't be the person, or shall I say, freak that I am. That's the way I see myself. I see everyone as artists and everything. Everybody has their own way of doing things, whether it's living, or painting, or just being around. I think everyone has something to offer. My mom's been my biggest influence, because she's done all this art all her life. I've seen it, eating, drawing, I think painting here, I can't remember. So, at the end of the day, yeah, I do painting, I do drawing, I do graffiti, I do clothing. So I do my own stuff right here too. I do a lot of things. I try to do everything big mache. I don't want to just limit myself to one thing, because when you limit yourself to one thing, then that's just what you'll focus on. So I'm really glad to be here. It's my first time. I'm really nervous, and I'm gonna be back. I got people got multiple entries in here. I'm like, what did I even do? I got one. My influences were, like I said, my mother, Indian culture, obviously, comics, a lot of metal, rock and roll, and just weird people of the world. Fu Manchu, definitely Confucius, they're pretty cool too. I also like Osceola, the rebellion that he has to offer. People, don't understand. We, didn't run away. We just stood our ground for what we came from as Seminoles and Indians. So I always try to keep that alive in who I am, the rebellion aspect of it, because we went against, forces that were so much bigger and better than us. So I always like to think I'm the underdog, and so I like to present that in my art. So I think, like I said, everyone's an artist. I think everyone has something to offer, and I'm really glad to be here. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Wants to go next? You're gonna stand up. You gotta stand by Eldon or something.
I'm Karine Cepeda. I live in Tampa, but I'm originally from Naples. This is my dad, Brian. Talk about, I do lots of different mediums of art. I love doing beadwork. It's probably my favorite, but I also do graphic art. I dabble in mixed media, drawing, painting, watercolors, pen. I grew up with him as a dad, meaning I was always around a lot of art growing up, and that kind of just followed me throughout my whole life. So I can't remember a time where I wasn't doing some form of art, which has really helped me as an artist. We used to go to like art museums and stuff all the time, so I would always see different art. That kind of just inspires me today still. So I'm very happy to be part of the show. I'm thankful that we have a platform as Indigenous artists, and that more and more museums are looking to feature Indigenous artists, which is amazing. So because like not even 5 years ago would that have been a thing. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Volunteers. Sam, listen.
I'm looking at Sam.
Sam, okay.
Good afternoon. Let's see, where do I start? My name is Samuel Tommy. Like I said, according to the government documents, I might have other names. I would stick with that one. I've been an artist since, as far as I can remember, since like age 3 or 4. I remember working with mud and getting in trouble, making sculptures. And around age 4, I remember using sticks drawn in the ground, and my mother encouraged me to draw on papers instead. And she would draw pictures herself, and I kind of started having a mind that would critique, like, I think the horse's head is a little bit kind of square. So I kind of started there. So I remember early age being encouraged by my mother to do drawings. So to make my story a little bit shorter, I do most medias in 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional as well, like stone and wood sculpting. I do film productions. I've been involved in that for many years. I studied a little bit of theatrics in Santa Fe a long time ago. I also at that time became a part of a national commercial at that time. So I had fun back then. Today I'm involved in film productions. I do my own productions, and I do work with professional groups. My best memory is the BBC of America, one of the reality shows. So I have a lot of stuff and accomplishments, and I've been very fortunate to front different opportunities, whether films or performing music or guitar or flute. I've been very lucky, and I don't have any thing online as far as my bio. I hope to do that sometime soon. I keep promising that. Hasn't happened yet. So we're going to be all lucky if I get to do it. Let's see. Trying not to repeat myself here. Okay. I've been doing lectures as well on Zoom or on locations. I've been doing a lot of that for the past few years, and past month has been booked all week. Yeah, all week, and I've been pushing myself really hard. I have a lot of projects to do, and I've been like falling asleep driving, and I'm learning how to push myself more. But I have a lot of ideas for my art, and I'll need to do them sometime soon. I'm getting too old to have 4 hours of sleep every night. Anyways, I do have 4 pieces here, and I like to talk about that. I have 4 pieces, but the way it's going to be laid out is they'll be laid out with 1 piece up here, 2 here, 1 here, and it kind of shapes the patchwork design. And from here and on, that's something I'm going to stick with. Most of my paintings will be in a shape like this, representing patchwork. I'll have images and so forth with patchworks incorporated somewhere, but that's my way of saying that these patchworks are my tribal heritage, and the Seminole women are the ones who have kept us going. They kept us alive. Because of Seminole women, we are who we are today. And so my art, the way it's designed, is to put the message out there that these are our work, these designs belong to us, and because of the women, we are here. And I plan to do more murals wherever I can find them all. If you can find them all, let me know. Yeah, great. Murals, I've done that in the past, and those are easy and a lot of fun. So I hope to do more, but I'll be doing more acrylic paintings and so forth. Also, I will have a music video coming out next month, and it goes with my paintings over there. There'll be an acoustic guitar and vocals, and it'll be a song about the Everglades. The Everglades is my personal healing. I was born on one of the Tree Islands, and my grandparents were born and raised out there. And so the Everglades is my soul and my spirit. So with that, thanks everyone for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sam.
Hot seat.
What was we doing? Oh, introducing ourselves. Wilson Bowers, Birdman from Big Cypress, live in Hollywood. Dabble in graffiti, acrylic, whatever I can get my hands on. I've been drawing since I was younger. My mom's a former seamstress. My dad does a lot of wood carving, so that's where I get, I guess, working with my hands from. But when we move to the other side, you'll see a wall of skateboards, and those are all my designs. And I chose skateboards because that's just kind of like what I did. You know, I haven't skated in a while, but I used to skate a lot, and I just always thought it'd be cool to have my own graphics. And there's a couple of canvases in there too, different styles, but I don't know. I guess I'll talk about it more when we go over there. If y'all have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Thank you, Wilson. Well, maybe it's down to you too.
Yes. I'm Brian Cepeda, Panther Clan, from Naples, Florida. I grew up in a village, Seminole village, surrounded by grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles. Growing up, I got to see my grandparents doing everything from wood carving to patchwork, beadwork, all that sort of stuff. So even as a little kid, I started making beadwork on a loom. That was the first type of beadwork I did. It was on a loom, making the little rings, bracelets, all that sort of stuff. As I grew up, I learned how to do a lot more things because I had the freedom to do the art that I wanted to do. And so I did more of the wood carving, and then I went into silversmithing. I learned a little bit from my late cousin, Ronnie Jimmy. And then from there, two things came together for me. One, I worked for a museum at the time, the Untitled Museum. I made a lot of the reproduction items they have on display with the mannequins and the dioramas that they have. And the late director, Billy Cypress, he asked me if I could make beaded bandolier bags because he knew I did beadwork. And I said, well, I've never made one, but if I could see them, I could figure out how to make them. And so I looked at a bunch of them that we had in the collections, and I took a bunch of notes, took a bunch of measurements, drawings, I took photographs, and I had to figure out how to make it. And so the first beaded bag I made, it took me a long time to make it because I made it and took it apart, made it again and took it apart because I didn't like the way it looked. And I still don't like the way it looks, that first bag. But I was finally like, okay, it's okay for somebody else to see it now. And I also learned that I had to start taking photographs of the things I made. And so I delved into photography, and I got lucky. I really did get lucky in photography. I give credit to two main teachers in helping me hone my skills, I should say. One, I was lucky enough that I got to spend 4 or 5 days with the National Geographic photographer. He was, and on that I was lucky because he's a Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist, and he told me everything he could jam into 4 or 5 days about photography, and I learned a lot from him. The other one is my friend Elrod, and Elrod at the time was working on a degree in photography at the Fort Lauderdale Art Institute, and he needed help with locations because he had to find places to fit assignments that he had, and some of them were out in the wildlife. He needed to go out into the swamp and stuff, and Elrod's like, you go out in the swamp all the time. Can you take me out to some of these places, you know? And I was like, I sure can if you teach me what you learned. And so he was kind enough to show me all the things that he learned and how to manipulate light and all that sort of stuff in the photography. And that helped me take photographs of the stuff I made. So one played off of the other. And so in this exhibit, that's the two things I have. I have my beadwork on display in the other room, and in this room you see some of my photographs on the wall. What I try to do with my photography is take photos from angles that most people don't take them from. That usually means me getting dirty, laying down on the ground to get a sunset picture, or wading out into the swamp to take a picture. There's a photograph hanging in my office, and somebody came in the other day and they're like, wow, that's a really, because it's a big picture. I want to say it's blown up to 36 by 48, and it's on my wall. And they're like, who took that picture? I said, oh, I took that picture. And I was telling them about that picture. I said, that day, me and my cousin Ollie went out into the Pacific Slough. And I said, I remember it took us a long time to get out there. And I remember putting a tripod in the water because we were both wearing those hip waders to try to keep ourselves dry. But we got in there and the tripod started sinking because the ground's soft. And I set the camera up and I was ready to take pictures, and then it started to rain. So in the picture that's hanging in my office, you can see like the first raindrops hitting the water. And the other pictures were nice, but I really liked the way it looked like they were almost frozen, the raindrops, because you could see it hit and the bubble coming up from it. And so there's like 4 of them in the picture, and that's the one I chose to put on it. And we also got stuck that day, I believe. We ended up hiking out, and our other good friend at the time was working at Mr. Van Samuels, and we called him, and he came down and picked this up. He was laughing at us, of course. I was like, I got the photo. So during we threw in that, so I threw my little suggestion in here, the art of healing. And so that was that part that I was able to contribute, because during the pandemic, my photography and beadwork really helped me get through this, to get it all out of my head and out into photographs and out into the beadwork. So anyway, I appreciate everybody being here, the other artists, as well as the public coming to view our work. Thank you.
You're it.
You got it. Nobody wants to be next time. No. Going all over where I am, somehow or another, I'm following my uncle's footsteps. I'm the new director for the Lauderdale Museum, and so this month is November, Native American Heritage Month, and talking to my brothers and my elders, kind of paraphrasing what they told me over the years is, we don't need a month. Native Americans don't need a month to celebrate. For every breath we take, that the gift breathmaker gives us, that is our celebration. For every step we take on this earth, that is our being here as indigenous people. And we take this opportunity. We celebrate with each other through our arts, but we also celebrate. We want to teach the outside world, the non-tribals, a little bit about ourselves. And you can see our world through our arts. Like I said, being a photographer, mostly, do some beadwork and some other stuff, but I'm a shutterbug. I've always been a shutterbug since I was, I think, about 7 or 8 years old. My mom put a point-and-shoot camera, and she went, okay, go and take some pictures. And I had one roll, 24 shots. That's what I had. And I wanted to make sure each and every shot I had counted. And so we have limited supplies and limited amount of money. You want to make sure that every picture you got of your family counted. So that's how I started, and they became my subject. And over the years, I expanded my subject to out to the tribe itself, other elders, and I always get fussed at, don't take my picture, don't take my picture, please don't take my picture. And I would take the picture without asking permission, which would infuriate them. But this little thing came along called Facebook. And so I started posting them on Facebook, and the screams I got from them, you put me on Facebook, how dare you, how do you not take my side not to, except for the ones that allow me. But then those families got to share their elders, and they got to start bragging about, oh, I saw you on this. And they have little circles in our senior singers, so they started kind of like trading cards. They used to trade pictures with each other, and they went, where's my, the ones that I didn't take a picture was, where's my picture? Why am I being taken photos? So when we had events, those seniors didn't want the picture taken anymore, would call me over, and I would take the picture. And then next thing you know, I was starting going to family events, and I would get the whole family. So I started archiving their photos. And so basically that's how I got into going around and kind of finding about my traditions, my heritage, because I was invited to these homes, and they would started talking about what really was important to them. And then I got to hang out with Mr. Martin Cepeda and his adventures, and I got to capture a lot of our adventures on film. And one of them is here today. It's called Brian Cepeda as a reenactor, and hopefully everybody comes over and enjoys it. It does have a title. I cannot tell you the title because it's got a curse word in it, but it's like I said, it was great memories, and that's I think what art does. It brings those emotions, whether it's going to be sad, whether it's going to be make you think about something, or just bring a smile to your face. And so before I go, I brought my flutes. I started this, and so I kind of want to end my little thing with a song. It's called Everglades Warrior. Like Brian said, we had a mentor, my uncle, the late Billy Cypress, who was my uncle for the Untitled Museum. During the Vietnam War, he was stationed over in Korea. He retired as a major and the highest ranked Seminole in our tribe. But he never, ever, and also a couple of days ago, last week, we celebrated Veterans Day. And like I said, he never talked about his service days. He, never mentioned anything except for one time. He was telling me when we were out there at the Lauderdale Museum, that, and got on the bus and drove to the Hollywood Reservation, and his mom picked him up and they drove to Big Cypress. It wasn't until he got to Big Cypress and he heard the wind, there's a wind that goes to Big Cypress, and then the birds, and he said that was the first time he actually felt like he was home and that he was safe. And you know, that's the moment that, you know, he could relax and that he was home and he was safe. And so I came up with this song for him. And in the song, you're going to hear some beats. And on the drum, power drums, they call that honor beats. And it is to honor the veterans. So in honor of my Uncle Billy and those veterans that have served, those are still in service, and those that have given everything for our freedoms, I want to play the song for you. What happened? I had a tune right.
So I did forget one artist who's here with us via live stream, and I'd like to introduce her, but I just wanted to take one moment to just acknowledge each and every one of you for being here, and each and every one of you for, you know, also helping to contribute to our healing and to my healing, because, you know, like that's kind of what we set out to do this year. And even last year, you know, we were like, should we do a show? You know, it's a pandemic, you know, half of everything's still in lockdown, and yet, you know, like you all can find a way forward. And we're still doing that now. Last year, our opening was 100% virtual. We had Ollie, Eldon, and myself, and to try to figure out how to do both this in-person and virtual in order to try to accommodate everybody's, you know, differences and how, you know, how we need to keep ourselves and our families safe. And so I just wanted to say thank you for working, you know, for working together to create this space here, and then also trying to create a beautiful space as well for the people who are joining us, and as well the people who will be watching later as well. So with that, we have one artist. All the artists were invited to join us here, and we have one, and that's Tia. Tia, are you ready? I'm gonna add you to the stream, okay? Ready or not? Here you come. Hi, I'm sorry I didn't.
Yeah, my name is Tia Blaze Billy. My father is from Otter Clan, and I grew up on the Hollywood Reservation. Yeah, I just want to echo a lot of the sentiments that everybody else has touched upon. I think it was so important for us to come together in this way as artists and as Seminole people and Indigenous people just in general. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I was born into a culture that is so imbued with art and like so many facets of it. It's so integral to who we are as a people and just what we do and create in the world. And that I was able to foster that growing up into the kind of art that I do today. I'm really into drawing and just a lot of sequential art, so like comics and film and that kind of stuff. And I really like to explore characters that are either reflections of my own identity or ways that I can connect with other people's identity, whether that's other Indigenous folks, just people who have experienced the same things that you or I have. Yeah, and I think this was a really, really special show and opportunity to explore those kind of things, healing, going through the pandemic. I think it was just really important that we all worked around this and were able to present it to everybody. Oh, and I want to say a big thank you to Tara for connecting with us in this way and just giving us all this opportunity to be able to show what we're doing to the outside world, but also just like to each other and to any other Indigenous people who might be looking to us or joining us. So thank you so much.
I'll just keep you up there. You can change the layout if you want to. We do have one other artist who has joined us that we're going to invite to the hot seat. She's trying to run pictures. Well, you can introduce yourself. We just got done with everybody introducing themselves.
Hi. So my name is Stephanie Hall. I'm a member of the Big Town Clan. I'm from Big Cypress, currently residing in New Mexico, Rio Rancho. And I'm very grateful to be here, invited time after time to this show. It's just an amazing space. And I really, really, really enjoyed the theme of this year, which was the art of healing. That's what I've been doing a lot, just in general over my whole life span, but very, 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 very much so, especially like the pandemic. The theme of this show is just, it's just of them and give the chance for that stuff to come out. And I think that's what we really need all the time. Every day is like to just express what's inside of us, like the emotions, our feelings, really acknowledging just how we feel, even if it's not good sometimes, or it's not how we want it to be, like just, just acknowledging what's there, what we're feeling. That's so powerful. That's something that I used to judge myself a lot for if I was feeling depressed or if I was feeling suicidal or if I was feeling this or that way. I would judge myself and I would judge other people too, because when you judge yourself, you're judging. When you judge yourself, it comes out as judgment towards other people sometimes. So in our communities where we have like drug abuse, drug addiction, we have suicide, we have all these different things that we're dealing with on a daily basis. And then, we have to learn how to acknowledge it, give it the space that it needs, not really be too scared to look at it. And that's something that I think with the pandemic, we had to sit at home with each other. We had to be around each other. We had to be with ourselves. So that's something that I'm so glad that this art show has been able to bring up and give us the space to talk about this, because it's something that we don't really talk about, especially like in my community where I come from on a little reservation. It's kind of like, don't talk about how you feel. But I'm so glad that now we can, it's good to talk about how you feel, to talk about what's on your heart and what's on your mind. So yeah, that's all. My little painting that I made is super fast.
It's in the other room.
Okay, yeah. I titled it High Desert Flash. I also want to thank Elgin for always being my teacher and the way that he comes up with his titles. I had to draw from his process, and also just want to say I'm grateful to also late Jimmy And I like just want to acknowledge him too while we're here. I know people probably already have, but his impact on the community, his legacy that he's left, it's just once in a lifetime. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, but for this portion, for the the part that's being recorded and on the live stream, we hadn't talked about him yet, so it's good. So at this time, we do have some. So as part of this effort that we have of bridging the space between the younger generations and the elders, including now the late Jimmy Osceola, who we lost this year. Last year at this time, he was here with us. His one painting hung in the same spot where that one was. I think we had a print too that you brought us to, right, Jackie, last year. But that's always our task, is to think about not only the present, but the past and the future simultaneously. And so as part of our efforts of doing that, and also because of the encouragement of young people, like Stephanie, like Wilson, like Nick, and like Tia here, we do have some elements of the show that are digital art only. And so we like to, and I don't know if I'm showing it or if Tia's going to show it, just to show you some of the works that you're not going to see in the tour. We've been already an hour, so after this we'll probably just continue, just do a very brief tour. You guys can still, if you wanted to shout out any of the parts of your artwork that you wanted to talk about, but I don't know, I think people's attention spans online is a little less than what they are in person. So Tia, do you want to show the slideshow, or let me see if I can get you back here, or do you want me to?
If you already have it set up, that'd probably be the smoothest option.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it. But I'll leave
Thank
you
you
to
so much.
narrate it though, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
I'll press the it's coming. It's just taking a minute to transfer. It's taking more than a minute. It is coming. We got it up here. It's just not showing. Just give us a second more.
I see it loading in.
I wonder if I have to add it to the. No, it should pop up. Any minute now. We got like one bar on our Wi-Fi. Oh, by the way, we do have a few comments while we're waiting from the online audience. I showed a couple of them earlier, but since we have a minute while this is catching up. I'll show them. Hold on, let me see what's happening there. I broke it. What else is there? Slideshow is. All right. Get this back. I really did have the slideshow ready to go, but it's just having a hard time reaching it. But we had
I can go ahead and share.
Jessica, who is one of the artists here. She's actually okay. Okay, yeah, it's just still
going around trying to load. Let me stop screen. Did I? Oh, really? Oh yeah, I do have it, Tia, if you want me to share it again. It's still loading, but I can do it if you want. But if you have it, you can too, I'm fine with it. This is Sierra Club Apache Group. Oh, Mary Castle, we talked to her yesterday on WebEx. She said, happy to hear you play, Ollie. And then thank you to all the artists. This thing, I don't know if the whole thing loaded or not, because it's still going around and it's still attached. It's just showing one of the slides, Tia.
Okay, I'll try taking over. A moment.
It's still trying to load it. It was loaded and then I don't know why. Oh, it's coming. It is coming. Slowly. Very slowly. Oh, Tia's got it too.
Yes. Shout out my sister.
If you would still like to narrate, I can.
If anybody's on WhatsApp, yeah, go ahead, Tia, if you can, because it's still trying to load. Tell us when you get to the last one. Oh yeah, there's Jessica's work along with Erica's and Brian's in the background.
Okay, I think that's the end.
Thank you, Tia. Okay, so I'm gonna try to switch over so we can do questions. We had also an art market that was planned. Is anyone still interested in doing the art market? This morning was that all the vendors that usually attract all the people took off when it started raining. Of course, it's a beautiful day now. I'm just was raining, but okay. So we have the tables, so we could, put them on if you guys want to do that, but, I just wanted to get a sense of it.
But we can do a quick tour, I think, and switch. We'll switch to the other room. And then we'll end the online portion and then we'll figure out if we're gonna do the art market or not. Sounds good? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna go get the other phone, but we can always so.
That was good. Within like all different. It was. So there was different areas as well, not just down here. Like there's a couple, I guess, I don't know if they were, they did yeah, so there was more artists for all. Cool stuff, yeah. Yeah.
Hi. Oh, yeah, we can walk through the